redcross.org/ESPN, redcross.org/ESPN, help the Red Cross respond and help people recover. Okay. You heard some of the audio there. Let's just be real calm for a second and acknowledge something. Ben Johnson, the offensive mastermind for the Detroit Lions, was the one that everyone wanted, was the person that every single other person wanted to take to the prom, to the big, like.
He was the hot guy in the streets.
Hot guy in the streets. And everyone wanted that person to say yes to him. And the Chicago Bears are the team that got it done.
You know what this is? This is like She's All That. The Chicago Bears were the girl, the artsy girl in the overalls. And after Ben Johnson picked them, they walked down the stairs in the red dress last night.
Give me any Freddie Prinze Jr. movie any day, any time of day.
I mean, it's true, because all of a sudden we're looking at the Bears a little differently today. Oh, the number one target out there wanted you. The number one target out there thought, oh, Caleb Williams is going to be good and he wants to hitch his wagon to your quarterback. Okay.
The only problem with that comparison, and trust me, I'm never going to poke holes in Freddie Prinze Jr. movies. That was a bit he was doing for, like, hey, I could turn any ugly girl, and she's beautiful, Rachel Lee Cook.
But then he fell for her.
Right,
Spoiler
but it was kind of like, I don't. Is that? Yeah, maybe he's
Ben
looking
Johnson
at the
is
ugly
saying,
girl.
wow, look at this disastrous situation.
Yeah,
but I
maybe
see
you're right.
potential with Caleb Williams, and I'm going to turn them into the hottest team in the league.
Yeah, well,
I feel like this is more of a Deuce Bigelow situation because they're giving this man a bag of money in order to become their next head coach. Like that, like let's call it what it is, Smalls. Some of the numbers that have been floated out there, they gave him a bag of cash. He ain't even going to the building before he accepted the job. Where they do that at? I'm gonna take this job. I ain't seen the building. I ain't seen my office. I ain't had the face-to-face meeting with the folks that I'm gonna be reporting to. But I'm gonna take this job though. I don't have the kind of influence in the front office that some of these other places were offering. But I'm going to take this job, though. And we're supposed to believe it's because he's enamored with Caleb Williams' physical ability. And there's so much promise with the number one overall pick from the 2024 draft. And that may well be true. But you know what makes him look even better? You know what makes Caleb look like the apple of Ben Johnson's eye? The bag of cash that they giving him to coach Caleb Williams. And if we're keeping it a buck, this is what it comes down to. The Chicago Bears organization saw what Jayden Daniels did to their division rival in the divisional round in Ford Field. Mm-hmm. And the Chicago Bears had an opportunity to draft Jayden Daniels. Just like a year prior, the Chicago Bears had an opportunity to draft C.J. Stroud and pass. They traded the pick. You had an opportunity to draft two young signal callers that are, if not already there, trending toward being top 10 players at the position in the sport. You had a chance to get those guys who, in their first seasons, got their team to the postseason and won a playoff game. You had a chance to get either one of them, and you didn't get none of them. You got Caleb Williams. And you can make the argument that the situation you had set up for Caleb Williams was markedly better than the situations that those guys walked into, and yet came nowhere close to the level of success that those other two quarterbacks have had. So if you're the Chicago Bears, you got to get this right. If you're the Chicago Bears, you got to get Caleb Williams to show a hell of a lot better than he did in year one. You got to get your program to start trending in the direction that those other franchises got theirs in. Mm-hmm. And Ben Johnson, being able to hire him means that you get the head coach that everybody in your fan base wanted you to get. You got the bell of the ball. You got the one that comes up with all of these innovative plays that gives all of the eye candy for all of these other defenses, that puts up all of these gaudy numbers with his unit. You got him. And so now this is on the Chicago Bears to make this work. Smalls, I was kicking it around with Nuno and Pat before the show, and I couldn't remember a coaching hire where the incoming head coach had a dynamic where there's more pressure on everybody else in the organization to make it work than on him. I sit here and look back at the Chicago Bears situation. There's so much pressure on Ryan Poles to make this work. There's so much pressure on team president Kevin Warren to make this work. There's so much pressure on Caleb Williams to make it work. Hell, Caleb Williams was on a podcast last week saying, yeah, I want Ben Johnson. Like, that's the guy I'm looking for. If it's not him, then it is what it is. You got him. So now it's on you to make this work. Because guess what? If this thing falls apart, if this thing doesn't improve dramatically, Ben Johnson might get some of the smoke. But it's after everybody points the finger of blame at Ryan Poles, Caleb Williams, and Kevin Warren, and the Chicago Bears organization as a whole.
Yeah, he'll be able to walk away probably in a better position than a lot of other people involved in this. But I guess we'll have to wait and see how it bears out. But right now, if you're a Chicago Bears fan or you're a member of that organization, I don't know how you're not ecstatic this morning. You did get the number one guy out there that everybody was wanting. Tom Brady really wanted him, spent a lot of time chatting with him, trying to convince him to come to the Raiders. And to think that he chose the Bears, that says something. To think that he chose Caleb Williams after Caleb Williams was publicly saying that he wanted him, that says something. And this is somebody that, yes, is going to get a lot of money to take this job, but it didn't seem like money was the number one motivating factor for him, because he could have gotten a bag last year and he chose to stay with the Lions and had more success. If you're the Bears, you're looking at these numbers. He was first across the board in offensive points per game, yards per game, touchdown per drive, and red zone touchdown percentage. They interviewed 17 candidates in Chicago. They really did leave no stone unturned in this search. They wanted to make sure that they spoke to as many people as possible. And Ben Johnson interviewed with other places too. The Jags, the Raiders, the Patriots. They mutually decided on one another. And looking at how he helped Jared Goff, knowing that he knows this division and that both parties mutually wanted each other, I think this is a home run hire for the Chicago Bears. He may not be as good of a head coach as we expect him to be, but right now, no one can fault them for making this move.
I'll say maybe, but maybe not. We're going to continue this conversation coming up, because I think there's a lot more to this, and there's some other names that we have to throw in here, because we are just assuming Ben Johnson is something that he may not be. He may be that, but there's another side to this. The Bears did get it done when it comes to hiring the guy that all of their fans clearly wanted. CC, just like Granger.
For the ones who get it done, Granger.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Và video ngày hôm nay mình sẽ đi tô màu, và những bức tranh của mình tô màu sẽ chắc chắn rất chi là đẹp. Mình sẽ tô rất chi là nhiều những con vật này, mà chủ yếu của mình sẽ tô là con vật rất chi là nhiều. Đấy, đây các bạn hãy xem những con vật của mình. Đây là những sản phẩm của mình tô màu này. Và để tô màu được những sản phẩm tuyệt đẹp gửi tặng đến tất cả các bạn thì không thể nào thiếu được hộp sáp màu. Đây là hộp sáp màu của mình này, mình đã chuẩn bị từ trước rồi. Những màu sắc thật sự là đẹp. Đây các bạn này. Và bây giờ các bạn hãy cùng theo dõi mình tô màu sản phẩm nha.
Em chi tiết tô màu nhé.
Nếu mà học tính nào, nếu mà muốn có tích sự gì ấy, thì phải đi làm chó cho bọn hàng thì bọn nó mới nhận, chứ không ai nhận, đúng không? Thế thì chỉ có đi làm chó, học tiếng xong rồi đi sủa cho bọn nó nghe ngủ như chó.